Good evening. Welcome to Wondering Dutch. Today we have an impressions and final thoughts on the Xbox Game Studio Showcase. This is still relatively fresh. The showcase hasn't long finished. Been only a matter of hours ago. I've had a chance to run through all of the trailers again in 4K afterwards, 4K 60 frames. Uploaded by Xbox after the live stream. The live stream was kind of hindered a bit. Obviously, not only that it was in just 1080p, but there was a little bit of audio lag and lag in general, including and mainly on the pre-show. My main takes from the show we'll run through bit by bit. It's quite a lot to run through. I'm going to zoom out of my face here, so you don't have to look at this mug all the way through. So don't worry about that. I'm going to put some, I'll put the conference on screen so you can kind of watch it with me as I'm going through my final thoughts. If you have any questions, leave them in chat. If you've got any thoughts, what your point of views are, again, leave a comment below. I'll try and reply to as many as I can afterwards. These are my opinions, my point of views. They're in no way form anyone else's point of view or how I think everybody else should look at it. But I hope you enjoy what you're about to see and what I'm about to talk about. So let's get going. First of all, as we know, we started with the Halo Infinite trailer. Of course, everyone loves Halo Infinite. You can't kind of complain about that. Everyone loves the Halo franchise. The hype around the Halo franchise pre-show was I've never seen Xbox or any of the studios push something so much prior to the reveal itself. I'll turn this down a little notch. There we go. Prior to the full reveal, there was a lot of pushing for this one. Now I'm running this stream. Obviously, this recording is only 720, but the stream of the showcase in the background there is 4K 60. So you might even see a little bit more detail than you did when it was streamed at 1080. There's a few things we've known about Halo post-show that a lot of people have picked up on, and throughout the gameplay trailer that was shown. First of all, in 4K, which I recommend everybody watches the conference back in 4K, the level of detail in Halo Infinite is absolutely sublime. There's a lot of detail in there that you wouldn't have picked up on the original stream. One of the key things that I picked up immediately was the living, breathing world and the ambience, the kind of the noises and the sounds and things that come off the back of it. Love how they now have the objective-based kind of campaign, a little bit more akin to the way they've done the Gears 5 campaign, where you kind of had options to go elsewhere, and you could go to kind of one particular area. You didn't have to go to that particular area. You can traverse in those locations however you want to. How this plays into co-op, I'm not sure whether or not you'd be tethered to each other, or whether or not throughout the co-op campaign that you'll be able to, for instance, like you see in this gameplay reveal, maybe one of you go to one of the AA towers, the other one goes to the other AA towers and tries to take them out separately, or if it's, I don't know, more than 2 players, maybe it's 3 or 4 players, then you can all take them out at once and kind of cut the time down on the objective even more. But like I say, the level of detail and the characters, especially Master Chief's suit, is phenomenal. The lighting effects, the particle effects, especially when you see them initially kind of into the next, when he moves into the next room inside the Pelican, or the crashed Pelican, look tremendous. The new combat features, the new mechanics like the grappling hook, which isn't just for climbing, also used to pull enemies towards you, pull objects towards you in order to grab them and then throw them at the enemies and blow them up, or use them as kind of grenades or explosive devices. The new weaponry that we saw a new automatic rifle, we saw a new pistol. I'm sure there's many more kind of weapons throughout the full reveal, or at least the full game when we do see it. Two enemies that I've picked up on from the Halo Infinite trailer. The two main enemies, of course, is Atriox, and then we have the this new enemy. I think I've seen a few memes of it there. They look a little bit like Shrek, but as long as they're difficult and not too same, that doesn't really bother me. I mean, the world detail here is absolutely phenomenal, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people just overlook little things, but it's the first time we've had true wildlife in a Halo. It might be nothing to some people, but full breathing worlds with wildlife that interact or run away when you go places, and you've got crash ships. That's an active event. Normally that would just land and drop people off and then float away, but on this occasion it's not. That one's going somewhere. It's got its own plans. You don't have to go chase after it. You can go elsewhere. Again, don't really see the kind of tire deformation too much in this section. A little bit, but not much. So there's still a few things to kind of iron out, I know, but again, the game has at least another 3 months until release, so it's got a few months to iron out kind of any performance issues, have a day one patch. We do know that the game now, post conference interviews, ray tracing isn't going to be there at launch. It will be in a post-launch patch, which is a bit of a strange omission. I think it's not going to hinder gameplay at all, but graphically it's going to make a massive difference when it is implemented. But if ray tracing, in my opinion, if it's going to be implemented in the game, then at least do it right. The one thing I don't want is that ray tracing, a bit like HDR last gen or this gen, is HDR to be implemented and it'd be half-baked. I don't want, if ray tracing is going to be implemented, I don't want a half-baked solution. I'd rather have the full bells and whistles if possible. So if they need to take the time to get ray tracing right and running properly, then so be it. Another thing you'll not take away from this is the game will have HDR. It is running at 4K 60. I do believe from what we've heard, they're trying to get 120 frames in online multiplayer, but 60 minimum, as we're expecting, or at hand has come to expect in previous multiplayers. But you'll never take away, because obviously live streams, whether that be 4K 60 or 1080 60, don't include HDR. So one of the things you have to take away from this is that HDR is not included in these streams whatsoever. So when you see the game, you'll have the added benefit of HDR, and then later on ray tracing, which is going to add another emphasis to the game itself and really make everything pop. But the sheer scale of this game looks magnificent, and I really can't wait to jump in. This is a cross-gen title. Actually, one of very few cross-gen titles for Microsoft, all the way through, to be honest. It was quite a few through the conference that you're expecting to be cross-gen, and turns out after all of that conversation about we don't want to leave people behind, which is true in some sense, because you're going to be able to bring all of your games through to next gen, all your peripherals, and a select amount of games are still going to be cross-gen, much like Halo. I do believe that you will probably tend to see, like we have done in this showcase, that a lot of the games showing off are built specifically for next gen, and we're showing underneath each of them. There's only a select few titles that were only still coming to Xbox One, to be honest. The vast majority of games shown were Series X and PC only, so next gen specific. Now, again, it depends on the equipment they're using for PC, but in this case, then there might be hindered. It depends on what the minimum requirements are for PC to be able to achieve what they want to achieve in Series X. If they're not hindered by avenues in Series X, for instance. They have the capabilities to add super fast storage solutions like velocity architecture to PC and full ray tracing, then or whether or not you can turn that on or off, which I would imagine you would be able to. And that's a different thing entirely. Again, game looks absolutely terrific. You'll see here the kind of final couple of enemies from this. I'm not going to sit through and run through the entire portion of every part of it. But what we'll do is we'll just quickly scan across to, let's have a look here. There we go. So quickly scan across to the next video there. The next game announced, and this one caught me by surprise during our the podcast, the Next Gen podcast with Mads Gaming, Jamie Moran, Elusive Gamer, and Mojo Blues. This one really took me by surprise. I didn't expect it, specifically and straight after what has been quite a major patch for their current game. But State of Decay 3. It's looked to me like a brand new IP. It didn't look anything like State of Decay, to be honest, especially with the lack of zombies, should we say. But the scale of this game now, at least what they're alluding to, what they're hinting at, the scale looks much, much bigger. And if anything, like the level of detail on that water or anything is anything like they're showing off in this CGI trailer, then that's absolutely phenomenal. As the guys in the RDX podcast picked up before, this game obviously is set in certainly a different location, but also it seems to have more of a story element to it. More of a single person surviving, trying to go through the things, but I think everyone still wants the co-op element. As you see there, the zombification seems to have affected animals as well. Looks like they've fully put the AAA budget into that title, and it looks amazing. That is, as you've seen at the bottom there, next gen and PC only. Phil Spencer goes on here to have a quick segment to explain that we only see 9 of the 15 studios, 5 new IPs, or 5 new IPs, but not all of the games we expected to be unveiled here. All of the games shown within this stream was all on Game Pass. Everything on the stream, including on the pre-show, was going straight to Xbox Game Pass, which is absolutely insane value for money. Regardless how you look at the show overall, having that day one, 22 games at launch, including your back catalogue, and then future titles, was absolutely, I think that's second to none in terms of value for starting a new generation. You're just going to have to pick up a console, pick up Game Pass. You're not forking out for 3, 4, 5 games in comparison. You're probably paying for less than the cost of one game and getting 22 games at launch. And that is insane value for money, regardless of which platform you play on. And especially if you're going into the new generation, that's investing in the next generation is going to be so much more cheaper for the consumer than any other brand is presented ever. I think every other platform, you're talking another few hundred on top of the console itself to play games at launch, at least if you're getting a few games and maybe a couple of additional peripherals. With Series X, you're getting the console, you've got a controller, all previous controllers work, and a simple purchase of Game Pass for 3, 6, or 12 months, and that'll have you 22 games immediately. Also on the go, it's also on xCloud. We're going straight into the next one here in Forza Motorsport 8. I mean, the initial reveal of this, I mean, the game looks absolutely phenomenal. 4K, 60 frames, ray tracing fully enabled. I would imagine it's real-time ray tracing as well. A few of the things I picked out straight away is the level of fidelity on the tracks here. not only the level of fidelity on the tracks, but the level of fidelity on the cars, the fact that, again, this is a next gen and PC only, so Series X and PC only. Pit crews are back, completely built from the ground up. It looks absolutely terrific, and I can't wait to see more. But that looks like it's a end of 21, beginning of 22 game. Still early in development. Next, Everwild. Now, it's a typical Rare artwork. I expect no less from them. It's a gorgeous little art style. It does look really vivid. The colors look amazing. The level of detail for the type of artwork it is phenomenal. Story-wise, still no further forward as to knowing what the game is about, what you're meant to do, what your objectives are, what the story's about, if it's a set story. It's obviously a co-op game, much like Sea of Thieves, but what it is that you do within this game, I have no idea. It is intriguing. It's another 4K 60 game, HDR as you can expect here. I'm not completely sold on it yet. I want to know a little bit more about the story and what it's about before I'm truly sold on it. Again, the positive is that it's all in Game Pass day one, so I don't have to worry about additional investments. I'm already a Game Pass Ultimate kind of subscriber. I get the most out of it on both Xbox and on PC. Playing games like Gears Tactics and Flight Sim, etc. on launch, and all of the other PC-only games that you do get on PC that aren't on Xbox, and Football Manager's the work. So it's an absolute benefit to everybody, really, to invest in that particular service. It makes sense. The sheer volume of content you get with it is, like I say, it's second to none. This is another game, Everwild, which is next gen, Series X and PC only. It's not on Xbox One. Again, a lot of people thought these games would have been, but it's not. Again, shown at the bottom there, Xbox Series X and Windows PC. You will notice with titles that are on Xbox One, it does state that it's on Xbox One, so it's quite transparent. Quickly skip past this little developer briefing here. Next title. We're going straight into a game that really doesn't appeal to me, but there is a niche little market there for people who really love Life is Strange franchise. Obviously, before that kind of was knocked on the head and the developers went out of business. I do believe I got the right ones there anyway. No, I don't think I have actually. Life is Strange, is that not Square Enix? Either way, anyone who loves the Life is Strange franchise will probably love this game now. Is from what I can tell in terms of graphically and fidelity, this game is above and beyond anything that Life is Strange has presented so far. So although it's not the most graphically impressive game to the average consumer, it is a story game, specifically a story game. This is not an action game. This is more of a kind of an emotional trail where you choose options and you talk to characters and select certain things to do, and your decisions affect what happened. And so it's not for me, but it certainly has its market, and I can see why people are interested in it. But again, that's the beauty of Game Pass, is the variance. This game, again, is 4K 60 HDR. This is a cross-gen title, however. And it does release, which you'll see at the end, August 27th, 2020. So it is at the tail end of the year, going into the next gen. So you'll get it on both. You'll be able to play it on the current gen before you'll be able to play it on next gen. I think by the time next gen rolls around, the vast majority of people who wanted to play this game will have already completed it. I don't suspect it'll be too long of a game. It really depends on how long this story is. Again, the game didn't look that impressive on the 1080 stream we initially seen, but with the see chapter 1, so it's much like Life is Strange. Much like the rest of it, you probably, well, the rest of the Life is Strange, you'll just get on with it. This little announcement I don't think needed to be in the conference. It was a nice little addition, but personally I would have kept this and the next bit of announcements. Well, the next 3 announcements after this one should have been pre-show or post-show. I think they could have put additional information about next generation games into the stream. In my honest opinion, I don't think they should have included anything to do with previous gens getting enhancements. I think that's it's nice to know and it's brilliant, but they didn't even elaborate really on the full extent of titles that are going to be specifically enhanced for next gen. Ones that could potentially deal or do with having an advanced patch on it. One of my buddies there, Patcher, big PUBG fan. That is a game that would sorely need a next-gen patch. High frame rates, smooth gameplay, enhanced graphics, full 4K, you name it. If the console can play it now, it's going to be able to play it with 2 times the kind of horsepower under the hood. It's going to be able to do exactly what you need it to do and do it work very, very well. Play it buttery smooth. The next one, that was Ori Will of the Wisps getting confirmed to have 4K HDR at 120 frames per second. Patches coming holiday 2020. Outer Worlds DLC intro here. This is Peril on Gorgon, coming out in holiday 2020, and obviously another expansion coming out not long after that, which is good. I loved Outer Worlds, amazing game. Again, DLC did not need to be included in the showcase, in my opinion. We'll skip forward again a little bit. Obsidian announcement for Grounded. Now the funny part here, as you'll see, is that they're fully making fun of themselves. They mentioned there, if you want to play the biggest game coming out this year, buy Cyberpunk. If you want to buy a smallest game, this is us. So it's a little jibe at themselves, but again, it's a game that we know has been coming. People have already played in preview, and we know when the release date is. It didn't need to have a trailer for it in a next-gen podcast, well, a next-gen reveal, in my opinion. But it is what it is. The game is unfinished, game preview, didn't need to see it. But that was the end of that one. The good thing that came out of this was all of that was Obsidian. So because we've seen, well, excluding Ori, but Outer Worlds and Grounded, because we've seen that, this is what we kind of expected before the show, was that they would lead on to their next project. And now the next project looks absolutely tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Let the video kind of roll into that one there. Here we go. Now this one. This really interests me. Obviously big Skyrim fan before they started putting it on everything, including your digital fridge, digital watch, telephone, mobile phone, and smart telly, your kettle. Before they started putting Skyrim on every possible smart device in the world, I must have sunk 200-300 hours into that game without a shadow of a doubt. And I don't know many people that didn't put hundreds of hours into that game. That was a big game at launch, and I think if this is Obsidian's dream game to make, and Microsoft have let them get on with it, and the reason they essentially purchased Obsidian for to make this RPG, then I expect nothing but amazing things. Now, if you have a look at this little section here, that to me looks like in-engine, just a little glimpse of what the game looks like, and it looks absolutely tremendous. Kind of gives us a Lord of the Rings vibe, an Elder Scrolls vibe, Elden Ring vibe, Avowed, again, that is a next-gen only and PC only game. Just can't wait to see more of that game. Can't wait to see how it goes. And obviously the scale of that game is insane as well. The next we've seen a bit of a strange title. We've just skipped forward a little bit here. Next we've seen a little bit of a short title here from... let's have a look here. It's a bit of a strange one. Let's be honest. Again, not my cup of tea. A little bit different again from anything we've really seen. This is the game called As Dusk Falls. It's got a very interesting art style. It's more like a moving comic book. Characters don't move themselves like as you would normally. Kind of like still images whilst everything else is moving around them. Kind of a 2D, 3D mixture. Like if you can imagine the art from the GTA loading screens, that the characters kind of look like that. And these very slight movements from parts of the clothing or something like that. So the art style itself is very interesting. I don't know how the game's going to play. It's a story game, like an interactive movie. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But again, it's on Game Pass, so you don't have to worry about investing in something. You don't have to worry about going out of your way to spend on this to try it out. You can just try it out. Now again, this one is strangely next gen only on PC. I don't know what it is that they're doing on that game that can't get them there. This part of the showcase really annoyed me. From a perspective of Microsoft, I'm not sure what made them feel the need to put on a developer to talk about their game with the fan base clearly expecting to see something from them when you show a developer on screen. Tell us that it's going to be set in Iceland. Tell us we can find out more about the development. And then not show any gameplay. We've already seen, this was the first game shown for Xbox Series X. The first thing to be shown off for Xbox Series X a year ago. Well, nearly. That was last year when the console was shown off. And no gameplay? That really wound me up. I don't understand the need to put a developer on screen to talk about the game and then not show the game. If you've got nothing to show, there's no need to include that developer within the presentation. As much as I love Ninja Theory, if they're still working on the game, that's fine. Go for it. Work on it. I'll still be just as excited whenever you're ready to show it off. But if you've got nothing to show Microsoft, there was no need to bring them into the fold. No need to. I feel sorry for that guy, to be honest, because I think he'll get a lot of flack from some fanboys for being on there and then not showing anything. And it's not his fault. It's a decision by Microsoft or potentially developers who don't have anything ready to show or potentially aren't confident that it's polished enough to show and they want to wait until it is ready to show to be able to show us something. But a little glimpse, any little glimpse, even if it's just a 2-second montage of some kind of fighting or walking around a town or anything, a little story glimpse or something, anything would have done. 1 minute, 2 minutes, didn't need to be long. Instead, we were put straight into Psychonauts 2 gameplay trailer with a song with Jack Black. It looks okay. It might be fun. A fun pick up and pick up and play. Doesn't excite us. It's also a cross-gen title, so it's not one that's taking advantage of next gen fully or at all. The game itself doesn't look demanding in the slightest. Very oh, there we go. But I'm sure we're. I feel like we should be expecting more from these developers now. I mean, it's an extremely vivid game, but I can't see. We'll see. I'll pick up and play it, but that's about it. I'm glad. This is one of the games I'm glad I've got Game Pass for, because it doesn't mean I have to invest in it initially. If I like it, then it's a nice surprise. I'm still getting my money through Game Pass. Xbox is still paying them, so they're not losing anything by me just trying it out in the service. Honest opinion, if it wasn't in the service and I had to pay for it separately, I wouldn't be getting it. Not for me. Probably wait for it to go in sale or something in the future, or be in some kind of bargain section. I don't mean to feel harsh on the developers when I say this, because they put their hard work into these games, but it looks extremely basic here, and I don't see anything that's really going to push boundaries or excite people. If we just go into this again now, we'll skip forward a little bit more. So I have the little announcement here of Destiny 2 coming to Xbox Game Pass with all DLC at no additional cost. Now, that makes me want to get back into this game again. I dropped the game ages ago when there was far too many, obviously, the disruption around Bungie and Activision, and having to rebuild the player base and rebuild the trust, rework the game again. And then unleashing loads of new DLC that then you had to pay for, and kind of lost track of it. I know a few people after seeing this have said, actually, that'll make me want to pick Destiny back up again. Surely by the fact that Destiny 2 is not only getting a Series X patch going into next gen, but also included with all DLC, including the new DLC, Beyond the Light, as part of Game Pass, and playable on xCloud. So you can play it anywhere, which is always a bonus. The game itself looks far different from when I last played it. Of course, all these brand new mechanics look very interesting. Certainly changes the game up quite significantly, which is always a bonus. We'll just skip forward a little bit more here. We'll go back to the next unveiling. This one caught me off guard, caught us all off guard, I think, when we were watching it through. Originally thought this was the Medium. As you'll see when you watch through the trailer here, it does look like the Medium. You wouldn't have thought it at first. Who doesn't think it's the Medium? It's very much the same setting, very much the same art style. I originally said that looked like Chernobyl. I don't think I'm wrong either. I think that is Chernobyl. This could be kind of going down the corridors through the nuclear reactors and things like that. But this is actually Stalker 2. I've never played the first one. I've seen afterwards quite a few comments from people saying that Stalker 1, or the original Stalker, was a brilliant game, a really good game. This one took people by surprise as well. No one expected this one. The game itself in 4K looks absolutely tremendous. This is a 4K, 60 frames per second HDR title. This is a Series X console launch exclusive. So obviously, naturally, that means in the future that will be coming to additional platforms. But at launch, at least for potentially the first year or half a year, or longer. We don't know. This might be console only on Series X. This was confirmed as well as being Xbox Series X and PC only, so next gen only title. Can't wait to see that one. Can't wait. That really interested me. Next title, another world premiere, as you can see. Another console launch exclusive. So again, same premises before. Exclusive for 6, 12 months, 18 months, whatever that kind of time frame is. To the console will later come to other platforms, I would imagine. This is Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide. Initially, I had no idea what this game was, to be honest. No idea what this game was. Especially when you initially see the kind of troops walking through this little area here. It certainly doesn't look like the Warhammer outfits, if that makes any sense. It's not the big troopers with the bulky armor on. But as soon as I seen that logo there, Warhammer, I was like, oh, it's a bit different. But it looks very interesting. It looks like a co-op shooter to me, very much like Vermintide, but more gun focused as opposed to axes and mages and whatnot. Again, this is a next gen only title, so Xbox Series X and PC only. This one's coming in 2021. When in 21, I'm not sure, but 2021. Again, Xbox Game Pass, day one. I'm gonna skip over this one. This one does not interest me in the slightest. The video itself as well didn't bother me. Tetris Effect. That shouldn't be shown. That game should not be shown on a conference like this. This is a cross-gen title. It does not need to be shown. Let's skip to the next one. That's all I need to say on that topic. I'm not going to discuss it anymore. That's all you need to know. This did actually look a little bit more interesting now. Maybe on the initial stream it was like, that looks okay. But you watch that trailer again, or at least watch the stream again through in 4K, 60 FPS on the Xbox channel, and it certainly looks a lot better, much more detailed. Again, none of these games have HDR on any of the streams presented, so just have to think what this game would look like with those added effects, the HDR, the ray tracing, whatever is implemented on them, specifically HDR. It's going to make that game pop even more. I think there's a lot of colours, specifically games like this, as you can see there, without HDR, there's a lot of colours that'll be shown off when HDR is implemented. It certainly looks like a very interesting action platformer, or a puzzle action platformer. Again, surprisingly, this one's a cross-gen title. So all platforms, or at least all Xbox platforms anyway. Potentially a launch exclusive. I didn't quite catch that one there. But it does look interesting. Strange name though, just called The Gunk. But a cross-gen title nonetheless. So something to play on your current gen before you go into the next, or at the same time. This is one of the bigger ones that everyone was looking forward to. Bloober Team's The Medium. Very interested in this game. This is really the pinnacle, and I don't think a lot of people understand exactly what is going on in this game to make it a next-gen title, or specifically why it's only next-gen. But you have to understand the mechanics of this game to understand why it's only next-gen and only available to work on Xbox Series X and PC. Throughout the game, you're playing simultaneously in two worlds. You're playing in the current world, where everything's a little bit dilapidated, and you're trying to find clues. but at the same time, side by side, you're seeing the same character in the same room, but in a different alternate reality, some kind of weird Silent Hill hell, which you can control for the vast majority of the time, but there's certain instances within the game where you don't control when it switches, and then you can also switch at the same time. So you have two realities at the same time, and two different things going on at the same time. You'll see a little bit more. I mean, in post-show, they had further gameplay, but as you can see there, that's dual reality gameplay. So two screens showing two things, two very different things happening. But to unlock different areas and things like that, you need to switch between realities to get through to that area or unlock a certain place. Certain enemies only appear in certain realities. Powers only appear in certain realities to get through them or get past them. You could not run two games at the same time, which is essentially what it's doing. It's running two instances of the same game at the same time on any platform. That's impossible. Impossible. The workload on the GPU would be absolutely insane. Again, we don't see this in HDR, which it will be. We don't see it with its ray tracing effects, which it will have. So that's going to look absolutely insane. Again, next gen only. This next one's a one for Sega fans. Not so much Nintendo fans because they're a little bit upset that this is coming to Xbox. But this is Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Looks like a really fun game, to be honest. I've never played any of the Phantasy Stars before. It's never been available in the UK or Europe, well, parts of Europe, believe it or not. Mostly Western, or well, the Western releases was America, Canada. So I'll be interested to get into this one, see what it's about. It's obviously got a very big fan following, so I'll be interested to see just how good that game is. It is a cross-gen title, though, but it does have Series X enhancements. And again, Xbox Game Pass. The value speaks for itself, really. That's all we have to say on that. We're getting closer to the end now. I'm going to skip through to the second to last announcement here. There we go. Coming 2021 as well. Second from last announcement here. The long-awaited campaign reveal trailer from Remedy's Crossfire X. Now this looks absolutely, to me, looks absolutely amazing. Smilegate and Remedy Entertainment. I played a little bit of the beta of the multiplayer handling, and the gameplay on that wasn't really for me, but the single player story, the fidelity, the quality of the single player campaign looks second to none. It looks absolutely tremendous. The best looking first person shooter we had of this gen was the newest Call of Duty Modern Warfare for its campaign. But this campaign looks like it just blows it out of the water, absolutely demolishes it. This is a cross-gen title, but it is a Series X enhanced title. Launches with Series X. Again, 4K 60 frames. Seems to have a little bit of crisis elements. HDR implemented, some ray tracing elements. Honestly, this Remedy's already included in Control and things like that. I've already included ray tracing before, so I know the abilities with ray tracing are already kind of refined. But that game looks unbelievable, and I will be playing that one on day one when it releases, the campaign at least. Last but not least, we'll skip to the final little section here. The final reveal, the reveal that everybody wanted. Final reveal. We'll leave it to speak for itself. World premiere. Playground Games. Would that be Forza Horizon? Of course it isn't. It's Fairy, the game. No, I'm joking, of course. This is the long-awaited reveal of Fable. This isn't Fable 4. This isn't Fable something. This is a complete reimagining, reworked from the ground up Fable. Its name simply titled Fable. That little section there made me laugh. Typical Fable. No release date on that one. Again, next gen only title. Xbox Series X and PC. Few things to take out of the post show as we go on. There is the enhanced for launch additional titles, only a handful that I'm going to mention here because there is more that we'll find about. But you've got Gears 5, Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon 4, and Gears Tactics that are all getting Xbox Series X enhancements and launched with the console. Bonus on pre-show. We had Dragon Quest XI coming to Xbox Game Pass and its first debut on the system. Now, I can't wait to play Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition when it launches onto Xbox with Xbox Game Pass. Next was an amazing looking title that I think caught a few people by surprise in the pre-show, and that was Exo Mecha. What a strange but interesting looking robot fighting mech assault game that was. I think everybody loves the look of that. And then finally, Echo Generation. Strange looking game, but very interesting looking title. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Last couple of points. Balan Wonderland by Square Enix. Really not sold on that. That's probably not a game for me. But again, working with Japanese studios, it's obviously paying off. They're getting some of these titles at launch, and ones you wouldn't normally expect. Last thing I'll say on the matter is the Watch Dogs story trailer. I was more hyped for what they showed in the pre-show story trailer than I was for that over-bloated, long kind of trailer at the Ubisoft conference. So, overall thoughts on the show as we wrap this one up. Slightly increased from earlier because I've seen it in it's kind of its more pristine form in 4K 60. It's not much of an increase, but it's still an increase. Give it just shy of an 8. Just shy of an 8. If I had to go down to decimal points, it would really something like a 7.8 out of 10. It would have been even higher had they not messed up with the including Ninja Theory, and but not actually revealing anything. That just bemused me. That didn't make any sense to include the studio's developers in the conversation and then not let them show off the game itself. Absolutely bemused me. That's the only real massive negative from that. We're still to see 6 of the studios and what they're working on. They've already advised at the end of the show that they're going to be showing them later on, but 7.8 out of 10 is my final thoughts. Certainly not a horrific showcase. Didn't blow my socks off. Didn't amaze us. Didn't wow me. But it was good. It was good. It was fun to watch. There's a couple of little surprises in there that I didn't expect. State of Decay was the biggest surprise for me. I did not expect to see State of Decay 3. That one caught me off guard. Crossfire campaign trailer was absolutely amazing. Like I say in the pre-show, Exomecha looked terrific. Fable reveal was funny. The medium looked amazing. Warhammer looked interesting. Stalker 2 looked very interesting. Avowed, I can't wait to learn more about that and see more of that. I know that's a little way out yet. Everwild, not sold on it, but still very intrigued. Forza Motorsport, not Forza Motorsport 8, looks beautiful so far, but we know that's in early development still. And of course, Halo Infinite. There's a few things to iron out yet on that game, a few things to patch on release and things like that, but still very excited for it. Can't wait to play it. And I think that summarizes really everything I think about. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. Subscribe, share, follow me on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter. Links will be below. I'll put my links down. Again, if you like what you see, like what you hear, have any comments, suggestions, feel free to do so. Until next time, I will see you on several podcasts next week. Again, Next Gen Gaming podcast, I do believe, with Mads, potentially on Tuesday of next week. Then got the midweek mix-up, episode 2, with Forza Irwin, Patcher, and Sean Ballon, with special guest Boxenberger. If you follow his YouTube channel, you'll know who that is already. After that, I'm also going to be, and I'll be able to go into my little schedule here and let you know, going into Game Beyond the Box podcast, which I'm looking forward to. Let's have a look. And also on Monday, actually, yes, going to be on Primetime Gaming with Boomstick. So you can catch me on those 3 or 4 podcasts next week, where we'll be discussing all the fallout from the showcase, our thoughts after sitting on it for a few more days, after seeing things a little bit more in depth, potentially reading a bit more information in articles that'll come out afterwards, seeing a little bit more potential additional gameplay over the coming days and weeks. But until then, thanks for joining me today for the rather large rambling on the Xbox showcase. Hope you've enjoyed it. Again, leave a comment down below. Follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, you name it. I'll put the links below. Enjoy, like, subscribe. See you all next time. Take care. Bye.